Students, welcome to your computer class. I am Sunny. So, students, we were learning about Visual Basic and we were learning about what is Visual Basic used for. We focused a little bit about the history of Visual Basic. Today, okay, let's do a quick recap of what we learned yesterday. So, yesterday we learned about different components of Visual Basic. We learned about the three modes. Can you name the three modes without opening the book? If you have mentioned it as design mode, run mode and break mode, then your answer is correct. These are the three modes which are used in Visual Basic. Then we learned about developing an application. What are the 5 steps which are used to develop an application? We learned about that, right? Next, so today we are going to learn about how to create a form. This is the first basic step of developing an application. So what do? So the first thing we do is we'll focus on the steps later. Let's start with first with understanding about the first step of application. So what are we going to do here? So we will be placing controls here. What are the controls? We'll be placing buttons, we'll be using text, and we will be using to develop an application. Now creating a form. So there are generally, you can add, like as I discussed earlier, you can add as many forms as you want, but the thing here is that generally we use only one form at this stage, because we are at a learning stage. We are at the first step towards becoming a software developers or software engineers. We will start with the basics. So in your book, we are only going to, as per your portion, as per the curriculum, we are going to only learn about creating one form and one application, and later when you move to higher standards, you will learn about doing complex programming. So right now we are not going to learn that. So let's see how we are going to place the control. So to place a control, there are two methods. The first is to double click on the control in the toolbox, and the moment you click on it, you will see the button gets added. You can see it in the screen how it gets added, and by default it will be named as button 1. So you can go ahead and you can change the name. When we are going to discuss about properties, when I am talking about properties or behavior of these, then I am going to talk about that. So here we go ahead and we put different name, and you can drag this control and put it in your desired location wherever you want. You want it at the bottom of the page, you can do that. You want to put it on the right, left, wherever you want, as per your choice, you can do that. Now there is one more method mentioned here, which is we can select the control from the toolbox and then drag the control to the form. Now in first, so what you're going to do, once you see that, you can reposition the control to the location by dragging it to your place, whichever place you feel you would like to add it to. Now next we are going to talk about setting control properties. So when we are talking about these button, now what would be the behavior of this button? What would be the background color? How would the button look like? What would be the font size? What would be the form color? So all these behaviors we decided here in the properties window, which we are going to learn in today's class. So next comes is the label. Now what is a label? A label is used to display some text. For example, if we are developing let's say a calculator, or let's say we are developing a calculator. So calculator will give us the calculation of an area, so length and breadth. So here in the label I will put it as length, length. Now this also has got some rules. What is it? First thing is name. What would be the name do? It will identify the label. When I mention it as length, it will tell me that this will give us the information about the name. Whatever I am typing, I will type it in the properties panel, and the same thing will be displayed in the button. So students, we are not going directly and typing it in the button. We are not doing that. We will be searching for the options from the Explorer. We will be clicking on it and we will be typing it. Next thing is font. What is a font? what should be the color, what should be the size, what should be the font style. Then forecolor, the foreground color of the displaying text of the label. Then comes is the text which displays on the label. What kind of text? Alphabets, numbers, you can set it here. Now there are certain controls which are sometimes hidden. Like you would have seen, when you don't accept a terms and condition, the accept button will be grayed out. But the moment you put a check mark, the accept button gets highlighted. Especially in the softwares, when you the first time you are using it, it will give you that option. We use this option here, visible or when it will be visible and when it will be invisible. So this feature we use it here. Now the background color of the label, what should be the background color of the label? Border style of the label, what should be the border? You want a 3D, you want a little bit of shadow in it, or you just want a simple border, you can mention it here. Next thing, now what is a text? Next comes is the text box. A text box is used to accepting the numerical or numeric values from the user. Let us learn about common properties. Now what it does here, it is the white field where we will be entering the number. So length, what? Suppose I put 2. When I'm going to put 2, I'm going to put it in the text box. So what are the behaviors of this text box? First thing is name, that is set the name of the text box. Second thing is text, which will be displayed in the text box. Now when I am calculating the area of a square, can I use A and B? No, I cannot. I can only use numbers. So here I will mention it as numbers and not text. Next comes is the font. What would be the font size, color and different things? What are the features? Second thing is locked. Whether you can move or resize this space or not. If you, after creating it, you can click on lock, and no matter whoever is using that tool, if in case by mistake he drags it also, then the size of the text box will remain the same. What is the maximum length of that text box? Now your calculator, for example, we have created a very basic calculator. It can just calculate a single digit number. For example, I am putting 2 in length, 2 in breadth. I'll click on calculate and the answer should get displayed, right? So 2 and 2. So here the maximum length is 1 because we are using only one digit. Now next comes is the multi-line. Now this decides whether the text will be displayed in a single line or multiple lines. So here we will be using, if we are using multiple characters. Now I spoke about one digit. Suppose we are doing some complex programming and if we are, let's say we are using 10 digits, but the text box size is not sufficient. So it will split it into 2 lines. Do you want to do that? If yes, then multi-line, we will go ahead and we'll check mark on multi-lines. Next thing is password char. Now this will specify the character or any other symbols to be used for accepting password. Now when you are typing a password, how should the password look like? Can anyone, if I suppose for example, I am typing my password which is TMS123. Now when I am typing TMS, what will happen in that box? Will I be able to see the text? Will I be seeing asterisks or will I be seeing black dots? Obviously when I am typing the password, nowhere you will find that the password is visible. It is either in the form of asterisks or black small dots, right? Like a ball, small mini balls, right? So the same thing you can put the setting here. Next comes is the button. What are the controls for the button? The button, when here we are talking about the calculate button. We have entered length, we have entered breadth. Now we are talking about the calculate button, where what will happen if we click on calculate and what are the characteristics of it. The first thing is it sets the name of the button. What is the name you want to give it to that button? Next thing is font. What would be the font color, font size or font design? Whatever you want, you can mention it here. Second, button will be enabled or disabled. So controls whether button can respond to user generated action or not. Sometimes if you say no, then it will be a dummy machine, a dummy application where 2 into 2, length true, breadth 2. Click on calculate, nothing comes up. The calculate button doesn't work. So by default, we will always enable it. We don't disable it. Next thing comes is the text, which specifies the text that will appear on the button. Very important here. By default, it will say as button 1 here. I can go ahead and I can type it as calculate. What calculation I want to do, I can mention it here. Students, this brings us to the end of the class. In our upcoming classes, we will be watching a small video and trying to understand how these functions work. So it will give us a brief idea on how we will be developing our application. So we have to answer the following. Question number 3, which is define property, method and event in relations to controls. Then we have an extra question which is name the different modes of Visual Basic programming. That is our extra question number 2. And then we will be doing fun time. So these 3 questions we will be doing for homework. And just in case if you encounter any problem or if you need my help, feel free to reach me through the comment section and I will be glad to assist you. So thank you students. Thank you for your time and have a good day.